Hello there, fellow miners. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Bionics. Episode 7, The Search for Oil. What's the saltwater geyser useful for? Salt and water? Heat? The saltwater here is what temperature? It's hot. 66 Celsius. Salt is, for most of, it's mostly edible. I mean, there's a bunch of different uses for salt, like you can turn into a liquid and use it as like a thermal capacity, but it's also very useful for just like table salt when you're eating. But for us bionic duplicants, who cares? We don't eat it, so we don't need it. I think there's also probably a geyser here because there's obsidian here. Oh, and I can hear it. So there's something interesting here as well. So yeah, I basically have no use for a salt geyser. And it was an AETN, or yeah. So the entry thermal nullifier, which is in this ice biome, you feed it hydrogen gas and it produces cold. That's a little oversimplification, but that's basically what it does. So I do know of a hydrogen vent. It's way up here. Would kind of suck to get hydrogen from this vent down to the AETN. Because the hydrogen vent will make really hot hydrogen, so then I have to move hot hydrogen all the way down to the AETN. And my base seems to be in the middle, which means it would be hard to move the hydrogen without it heating up my base. But, you know, maybe if there's no other... If we want the AETN fired up and this doesn't happen to be a hydrogen vent, maybe that's what we have to do. We'll see. While we explore, I'm keeping an eye out for alternative power sources. Because right now we run on coal, and it's kind of annoying to have to keep mining coal continually. So if we can start to exploit natural gas or hydrogen for power, where the geysers produce it periodically, that keeps us from having to just constantly mine new coal. Reject all. I don't even want nutrient bars. Abyssalite insulated gas ducts. So abyssalite is not a valid material for gas ducts. You can't... abyssalite you use much later on. Using abyssalite for insulation is a space age thing. So I don't want to get into that because it's way beyond where I am right now. But you have to be going to space to be able to use abyssalite. The best I could do is igneous rock, which would be fine, but over the course of many cycles, it would eventually bleed material in. So what is this? It is a copper volcano. Well, that is not useful. Or at least not for the AETN. Also, the placement of this copper volcano sucks because it's in a cold biome. So if I ever want to use the copper volcano, it's going to melt the hell out of everything here unless I build like a massive amounts of insulation. Like ceramic tile insulation or something. That's another thing is I didn't mention. I could, if I was really worried about heat, get advanced refining and build ceramic tiles for higher priority or higher insulation. But I'm not too worried about that. For now, I just want to get to the oil. Well, this is a pretty big ice biome with like almost no weezeworts, which is a bit of a bummer. So the two weezeworts that I do have access to, let's go ahead and plant in the base. Probably one near here. So plant it there. And I'll plant one here. Are Bionics temp tolerances enhanced? Yes. A bit. Oh, I found some oil. 80 Celsius. So it's hot. It would be very uncomfortable for my duplicants to go into. But, you know, if you gotta lube, you gotta lube. That might not be the best puddle to exploit, though. So once I get down here, I'll have a better idea of oil pockets to tap into. So these resorts that I took from the coal biome are going to be used to help to offset some of the temperature around here. I could also move my power control station elsewhere and put 2 resorts here instead. That might not be a terrible idea to put the power control, like, I don't know, somewhere else. Just so that I'm offsetting the heat from the coal generators more effectively. Do I have phosphorus in storage? I'm sure I do. I have 2 tons of it. And it's not like... I did dig through a whole bunch of it here, which is why I assumed I did. Because this shaft goes straight through a bunch of phosphorite for fertilizer for the Weezeworts. And here's the top of the ATN. But yeah, this coal biome is almost completely devoid of Weezeworts. Normally you get like, I don't know, 6, 8 Weezeworts. This one had 2. I don't care why, it's just surprisingly devoid by chance. Just a reminder to collect polluted water again? Yes, it's out. I see that. Good call. Get that pumping. I'm curious what's down this way. I don't really want to dig through that much abyssalite to check, but at some point exploring that way might be fruitful. I was hoping not to have to drill through a cold biome to get to the oil, because mixing hot oil, here's the temperature overlays. Oil biomes are 80 Celsius, cold biomes are negative 40-ish Celsius, so you don't really want to breach between the two because it's very bad for the cold biomes temperature stability to do that. There is one advantage of it, however, is the oil would cool down quickly and not scald me, because I don't have exosuits to be able to deal with it just yet. Speaking of which, let's get exosuits. Might as well start the research for it. We probably won't immediately need exosuits to exploit oil, but might as well start the research process. Doesn't hurt. So what I may do in this spot is to dig west, like through this puddle, and then down here to more oil. I'll have a better idea once I get down here of where to go from here. I could go straight through the cold biome, but it's going to definitely trash this cold. I don't know. We'll see once I'm down here. I'll I'll have a better view. If you're wondering, that was Alt-S, Alt-Sierra, to be able to turn off overlays and zoom, super zoom. It's built into the default, oxygen not included. It's not a mod or anything. How many reeds do I have? 35? Yeah, I might not even, let's turn this off. I don't think I'm going to need tons and tons of reeds. So this amount of polluted water might just be enough for all the reeds I ever really need. We'll see. I mean, if I need more, I can always exploit more. I was hoping to find like a big old basin of oil down here, or an oil well or something. I haven't found one yet. So I'm sort of holding out, finding a high density puddle. The other thing is when you exploit oil, make sure to check its density, because right now this is like 800 kilograms per tile. Sometimes it's super pressurized, which means once you crack into it, it will completely flood everywhere and damage adjacent tiles and make a big mess. So that's another thing to be considerate about when exploding oil, is like it can breach tiles pretty quickly and become like flood everywhere, and if it's hot, scald your dupes pretty badly. Wishbringer, thank you for the gifted subs. Cheers. Power bank, I think we just had a, yeah, okay, we just had our power, top to back up. That's why my power available is terrible. Yeah, the same is true of gases. And that actually happened to me when I got here into this facility. This facility is greater than the like 1800 gas pressure that is comfortable for duplicants. So we, down here it's like 3000, which pops your ears and causes stress. And it's lower than it was before because I had removed a lot of liquid here, allowing more room for the gases. So even on top of that, now one advantage of pressurized gases is it's so pressurized that the slime can't emit more polluted oxygen because there's nowhere for the oxygen to go, because it won't outgas beyond roughly 2K. And the same is true of like bleach stone and a lot of the other sublimators. Oxalite for oxygen. Sublimator meaning a material that skips the liquid phase and goes from solid to gas. Subliming. Blueprint. As much as it hurts me, I think I'm going to skip this one too. Decreased strength is kind of blah. And on top of that, we're barely keeping up with the power demand for the 4 we have. I feel like we need a more robust power grid to support 5. So I'm going to print the power banks. I'm sorry. It hurts me to do that, but I think it's necessary. So this does not look like another oil biome. I think I'm going to make the decision to try my luck at searching elsewhere. Because there's just not a lot of oil here, and I'm going to run out. Not immediately, it would take maybe like 50 cycles or so from lubrication. But if we start processing the oil into petroleum and then the petroleum into plastics, we would definitely be in a situation where we would quickly find ourselves out of oil. So I don't want to build infrastructure for oil only to have it be obsolete quickly. We did just get a textile loom. That bug is annoying. Where the actual thing disappears. I'll plop that down. I don't really care where it goes. Just plopping it down just about anywhere. Carpeted tile if we want carpeted tile for decor. And I don't know if duplicants Bionics get tickled toesies. I could always test that out, I guess. It's an experiment. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Oh, here we go. A lot more oil here. So it seems like it's going to pay off. And I'm just, I'm excavating down here to add space for the water. So that I can avoid, getting wet. Yeah, this seems to be a little bit more crude oil than this. And maybe it's about the same. I don't know. Well, worst case scenario, I've done more exploration. That's never a bad thing. Plus, this looks like a pretty good vertical shaft that lets me see a lot more. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about right. So in this case, this is 2 different cold biomes that just like merged together. But yeah, that's why this one had 2 and this one had 6. 6 is like more normal. So this is a far more typical cold biome to find. So ventilation just got done, and now we're doing exosuit forge production. And all the water that is on the tile here just got mopped up, so it won't be a liquid exposure beyond today. So Jazz Lover and Scorpio had to spend a lot of time in the water mining, which is why their stress spiked, but their stress should start to go back down now that we have a bridge. This crude oil is quite hot. But yeah, this is probably the well I'm going to tap because it looks a lot more high volume than the other one. And if I did want to get these Wheezeworts without screwing up this cold biome, going through the cold biome is going to be better than like punching a hole here where it's hot on one side and cold on the other. So there's a bit of a breach here that I could always airlock at some point or something. But I'm going to go through the cold biome to get the Wheezeworts. I think it will be better for the stability of the biome. It will also give me the chance to exploit some wolframite, which is a thermally reactive metal that is that refines to tungsten, which is pretty useful later on. Oh, we got some zombie spores. That's good to know. So let's check Jazz Lover's stress. Oh, there is a smelled flowers. Okay, so it's popped eardrums, chilly surroundings, and most likely liquid exposure that caused that spike. And while we dig, we'll also construct the plumbing and electricity for it. So once we have oil, we ought to store it somewhere. So I'll probably put oil storage somewhere around here. And then we'll also have the ability to get a lubrication station up and running. So maybe I'll put the lubrication station where the degunker is. So this is where the oil eventually is going to come in. I'm out of coal, aren't I? Yep. There we go. All done. Once we get through, if we open up this security door, or in this case destroyed it, there's a lot of coal here that I could hit. Also iron. I don't think I've ever hit iron yet. I have no need for iron now, but eventually iron is obviously one of the core ingredients of steel. So I'm not that close to being able to refine steel. That's kind of a long way out, but eventually it'll be nice to have iron resources available to me. So progress down to the oil has been a little slow, just because it's farther and farther and farther from where the duplicants are frequenting. Oh, there we go. That's the skill point I wanted. So I need... Let's give you a construction booster, maybe? Yeah. In fact, I might want to make more construction boosters. So that most of the dupes have like basic mining and basic construction, so that they can dig and construct, because that's the bulk of the jobs that we do. I'm also going to massively deprioritize this ladder, as it's not important for oil exploitation, and focus just on exploiting this oil. How's our gear oil, speaking of which? Quite low. So hopefully this is the last gear bomb batch that we have to make, and that from here on out we can do we'll be able to do, you know, proper lubrication station. That's the dream. Research booster, sure. I was really hoping to find a oil well, because that gives you a more renewable source of oil, but it would require significant more plumbing. So it's probably a future project, rather than one I have to immediately consider. So for the oil reservoir, let's go ahead and just store the oil in here. And then we can decide what to do with it thereafter. feeding it to the lubrication station, processing it in an oil refinery into natural gas and petroleum, using it for water locks or liquid locks that don't cause liquid exposure. So if you click on the crude oil, it's a liquid that is slippery, so it doesn't cause the liquid exposure like water does, or polluted water, or and gunk is the same. It's also gear oil, so it's a mechanical lubricant for our dupes. So it serves both purposes. So it's a really good liquid lock. The other reason it's a really good liquid lock is it's regular water is obviously pretty temperature sensitive. 0 and 100, it will freeze and boil. Whereas oil is less temperature sensitive. It's -40 to 400. So if you need a liquid lock somewhere hot, water will boil off way sooner than oil will turn into petroleum. And then petroleum is even wider of a range. So I'll probably end up using like petroleum as a liquid lock, or gunk. I mean, we could also use gunk. Gunk does freeze at -8, but it can go up to, it evaporates at 448 or 447.9. So if we have an excess of gunk, we can also use gunk for a water lock or a liquid lock. But for now, we're just using using the gunk to make more gear balm, so that we don't get our gears locked up and our athletics dropping to near zero value. So the stress, as I expected, is almost exclusively from the cold and liquid exposure. So it's back down to basically 0. Besides, actually, even shield, I'll have you do construction too. So now they all have at least one construction boost. So if we take a look at priorities here, building is great for all of them. Or good for all of them, I should say. Ooh, a new blueprint that I'll probably never use. Because of this iron, it's like not possible to avoid a breach here, I guess. Battery power looks a little bit better now that we have 3 chargers running concurrently. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe we could have supported a 5th. I just didn't want to have to sabotage my progress on exploiting oil by needing to expand our power grid all of a sudden. Plus, I've been like running out of coal. All the more reason not to add more people, because I'm relying on a finite resource that's kind of annoying to exploit. Hopefully soon, I'll be able to have better vision into where there might be better sources of oil. The other thing is, maybe I will change the priority for that ladder back to 5, which is normal, so that I can dig down here and go through the abyssite layer at this point and take a look what's in this oil area, because maybe this oil area is better than I thought. It might be there might be some massive basin or something down here that I just need to discover. So hazard protection is done. And I'm just going to put the suit exoforge here. So for the textile loom, I could hook up them with snazzy suits. I don't think I will because morale hasn't really been an issue. If it was, I would like make nice suits and have them add decor bonuses. Oh, apparently I'm hatched a critter morph. Completely passively, mind you. Was it a shine bug? A hatch? I honestly have no idea. I wasn't ranching it, so I didn't violate the run's rules. Oh, we are out of polluted water. So, I know I'm taking my time to decide where I want to exploit oil, because I really just want to, like, you know, the old adage of, like, measure twice, cut once. That's what I'm attempting to go for. Alright, you gotta stop dipping your feet into that liquid exposure. That's just dumb. Mop it, dudes. So I'll find the biggest old puddle that I can pump. It might be this one. It's probably this one. This looks like a massive volume of oil. Yeah, this is like a marathon's supply of oil, I would say. So, to that end, let's stop digging this, this ladder for now. This is plenty. This is more than plenty. This is a ridiculous amount. I think, out of abundance of caution, I am going to make a Atmos suit for whoever has to go into the oil biome. So for that, we'll need more refined metals and to craft an Atmos suit. So the current priority right now is exploit oil safely, so that we don't get scalded to hell. So the way the Atmos suits work is you have a checkpoint where you you hang the suit up, and then when you pass through the checkpoint, you're forced to wear it from the suit dock. Because it's not very pressurized gas down here, what I could do in this case is just have a, and it's going to be really inefficient, but in order to feed oxygen, I'll probably just have a algae oxygen feed for down here, rather than to like use a vent and run a really long vent, because it's probably a suit dock that's really not going to be used very frequently, and therefore it doesn't need to be constantly resupplied. Oh, what is that doing there? Also, looks like my fresh water is backed up. So let's empty out some of the fresh water from the system so it's not backed up and it can start sieving again. No. Looking at my choices, it's like, well, food poisoning tablets or food. Yeah, I don't need either. All right, someone please hit that valve. I'm losing patience with their priority here. There we go. There was essentially just too much water in the system, so it needs to dump some. And I'll leave that as a priority so that it reminds me to turn it back off. So I'll have it go down to about 2K. It's at 5 now, or at 3.5. And this diamond layer might be a great place for the actual checkpoint. So for the suit dock and the checkpoint to be here. So this ladder goes down to the checkpoint or something like that. Okay. Now there's space for water into the system. So that is going to be my suit dock spot. Straight old ladder, that'll work. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Bionic Booster Pack DLC Marathon, which originally streamed live on Twitch February 15th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind I asked for no backseating, and also feedback cannot be incorporated because the entire series was already streamed once as a marathon. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow duplicants.